It's something about those. You just finally go, just fuck it. No.
Right.
Just no. Not doing anymore.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Lee. Yeah, you do look like a newscaster who wears leopard.
And you look like one who wears beautiful yellow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
You
day.
are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Okay, that's enough.
Okay, we're good.
All right, yeah.
Hi.
Hi. How are you? It's good.
I'm great. Happy day.
Happy day to be back in town after an eventful trip to New York City and D.C.
We did.
That was this will be pre-recorded. It might be a week or so, but it was eventful enough to sort of kind of hash back in.
Okay, so we flew to DC and did an event for a corporation that focuses on wellness. We have worked with them before, and we will work with them again because they're amazing. And any corporation that wants to put a focus on keeping their employees healthy is a good one. And so we went and we mingled with some people that we met before, which is fun, creating relationships, and we taught a class, and then we skedaddled. But what'd you think of it?
I thought it was great. There is nothing like staying in a nice hotel in D.C. and running into some of your superheroes in the restaurant that we had lunch in. Who's the guy I ran into?
Thomas Friedman.
I was so excited to see Thomas Friedman, and I feel like he was kind of excited to see me. But we didn't really want to talk because, he was busy, and he's just written some great books, and he's a great columnist, and that was really fun. We loved the whole DC
You saw him
thing.
from afar. You didn't get to meet him, but
didn't.
you're sure that you made eye contact.
I'm sure that we did.
And he was
I'm
giving
sure
you
that he would like to meet
good
me.
vibes.
Hope,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. But being in DC is a really, it felt like
It's
powerful,
powerful.
hallowed. We just flew in, and immediately you see the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial and the Jefferson Memorial and the White House when you drive by, and it just has a good
It's a vibe.
feeling. The Pentagon.
We talked about this. The vibe, and we've traveled a lot, and so I've been to a lot of capital cities of countries, and you have too now. When you go to say Rome or something, or some of the European countries that are absolutely incredible and just hold this history in their beautiful palms, but you don't feel the raw power, or maybe it's because I'm an American when I'm in Europe doing that, but I see and feel a real power to Washington, D.C. I don't think you can land and see all the monuments. It's literally right after you land, if you land at Reagan Airport. So that was fun.
It is.
Cool.
It just felt really interesting. I think it was a nice feeling, even when we're kind of struggling in an election season.
Yeah.
With division, to be in our nation's capital and just feel the honor of that. So we didn't really do anything political or sightsee at all. I mean, we were in and out.
Well, we did have a great conversation with a person at our table one night that was pretty much in the know about North Carolina politics, and he wasn't from North Carolina. But he was like, North Carolina right now, and he's an analyst, and he was going, right now they are leaning sort of red. You will be hearing this 2 weeks from this conversation, so, who knows what they're doing right now. But there's a lot, the political analysis people are like on North Carolina, just like they are Pennsylvania, and just like they are all the other swing states. But North Carolina has got some real attention.
So it's
we know
still
you
in the
guys are going to
balance.
vote, right? We've already talked about this.
Yep. Well, let's just get into that since we are talking about DC and voting and the podcast two prior to this, where we talked about how to speak about politics without pissing people off.
Right.
And it was an episode that we were a little bit hesitant to record ourselves.
We tried to record it twice. We really did. We tried to record it twice because we kept stumbling it up and making our own views thrown out. And so we realized in that podcast, and if you hadn't heard it, I hope you'll get back and listen to it, that it's about respect and treating people well and listening instead of speaking all the time. Because everybody's got something to say right now, and we need to be doing some listening as well.
Right, and instead of pushing an agenda or being more divisive, the point that we continue to try to make is what you just said, to be open, to listen, to read both sides, to hear both sides, to understand both sides. Despite the turnout of this election, I feel like we are in a really volatile atmosphere. And I feel like that's so much more important than than anything else when it comes to
Right.
this election per se, that we've lost sight of policy and we're putting focus on power and religion and this weird energy instead of growing
a real divisive,
together.
right?
Yeah.
The real divisive energy. So we talked about that on that podcast, and we didn't know what was going to come out of that, but we did get a lot of feedback on that. So if you want to pull some of those up,
Yeah.
if you got something bad to say, please say it to me, because I am
Not me.
I'm okay. I keep my shield up. I know it's not coming straight at me, and if it is, I let it go. You're a little different. But we had one, and we can't find it. It's hidden. It was really mean, or I guess, but
Right.
And not to blow that off, by the way, those opinions are real, and those opinions are heartfelt, or they wouldn't feel inclined to write this on a public place. So I respect those opinions, but I also respect the humanity of women and women's health and a woman's right to choose, especially a child or someone has been. Anyway, we're going to go into abortion right now. So anyway, go ahead, read something.
This one said, well, I'll read the whole thing since it like fluffs your skirt. It says, I recently discovered Liz Hilliard and her Hilliard Studio Method after looking for ways to change up my normal workout routine I've been doing for years. I was thinking about adding Pilates, and that's when I found Hilliard Studio Method online. Today, I discovered your podcast. Well done. Thank you for talking about our political climate in such a thoughtful, calm, and insightful manner. You have a voice and are using it in a proper way. You are an inspiration. Plus, I love your studio method.
Okay, that's good. That's going to go on the outside of the building. We're going to have like one of those like pull down banners that'll be up for the next 3 months. You'll be able to read that one. Thank you. Yeah.
I just wish that more, not like I want praise. It's more like understanding and positivity and thought-provoking conversation versus ranting, demeaning, vocalizing, and just shouting out things.
And I think why are you and I talking about politics on our podcast? We're not political brainiacs, but what we do understand is communication, and what we do understand is support. And what we do understand is not everyone is the same human being. And when one of our friends we talked about on that podcast 2 weeks ago listened to the podcast, she just watched my reel that I had just a little bit of up on Instagram. She wrote you and I and just said, I love you. And that's all we want. I mean, that's all we can ask for. We all deserve respect in our opinions. And we can have really healthy arguments. And I want us to have a nation where we can have those healthy arguments. So thank you guys for listening to that one and for listening to us as the two of us sort of navigate this. We keep trying to come up with a new subject to talk about when we are, but it's right in our face.
And the reason is, you said we're not political, analysts,
No.
but we are Americans who have the right to vote. And right now we live in a democracy, and so I'm going to take advantage of that while I can.
Me too. Me too, because God knows. I'm going to have some water.
Have
okay?
some water in your logoed water bottle.
Wait a minute.
Isn't that special?
This is still one of my favorite things about this studio is having my own logo on my water bottle.
Doesn't take much.
I know. Let's not talk about climate change yet. But anyway.
Oh, goodness.
Not
Okay.
totally good.
So from the nation's capital, we departed and flew to New York City. I will take a train next time from D.C. to New York and get dropped off right in the city.
It's only 3 hours.
I didn't even really know that.
We flew, of course. We needed to spend more money. Right? Yeah.
And we were there because you were going to be on a local syndicated show. And this was a sit-down kind of like this in real clothes, not workout clothes.
Right.
Because workout clothes are fake clothes. And it was a great conversation about generally living abundantly.
Right.
And you get asked a lot of the same questions over and over, and it makes sense. Everybody wants to know, how you started a business later in life in your 50s. Everybody wants to know how you left a 37-year marriage, how you moved through divorce, and how you hooked up with a hottie like me. And so
I want to know that too.
That's what I
That's
went
just
along
called
for.
good luck. Excuse me. And I choke on my own words. No, that is definitely called good luck. It was really fun sitting down with her because I loved her whole theme of her show that day was abundance. And we've talked about it a lot, and I do get asked this question: where did you get the courage, to do what you did? And the courage came from owning my own authenticity. Finally, in my 60s, I'm 70 now, but in my 60s, I found that not to be myself I'd been wasting a lot of time. I've been living a great life, actually, if you look at it from the outside in. But from the inside out, my life was missing a really deeper meaning, and that is not the deeper meaning that is just narcissistic or just about Liz, but it was I had more to give.
Right.
And how are you going to give more to the people you love or to your world that you live in if you're walking around half you? So when I'm asked those questions, where did you get the courage to do that? I had to decide if I wanted to be a half of a person or a whole person. I fell in love with you, and that was a shocking event, as we all recall. And it's not shocking anymore. It's the most real feeling that I could express. But it wasn't just that. It was walking away from a marriage that was, 37 years, and claiming for both of us, my ex-husband, myself, a freedom and a respect for each of us as human beings. Now, it didn't sound like that when we were going through it. It felt very raw and bloody and scary. But even during those times, it was very respectful, if you can believe it or not, with my ex-husband and myself, with all the anger and all the things. What courage brings you is freedom. And so if you can find the courage to own your own feelings, but it's not just your feelings, it's who you are, because your feelings are sometimes wrong. They're crazy. You feel one way and you go, let's just see if that feeling's real. But if you can really find the courage to know what your gut says and to own it and to walk it and to be it and to say it, then the freedom that comes behind that and with that every single moment of your life from then on is extraordinary. And I cannot describe it.
Right. And we've said this a lot, that we know people are standing on the precipice of a lot of different things that involve change, involve fear, involve unknown.
Yes.
And just to have a little bit of faith in that hopefully it's not as dramatic as a divorce and a new partnership
Hopefully
and
not.
new sexuality and all the things that came with our specific example, but to realize that if you do follow that gut, that little voice inside, to trust that there will be joy in that to help you over the hardest parts.
But to trust that there will be joy. That's a really good point. I guess I did trust. Did you trust that it would be joyful?
Yes, I think I knew so much more. For me, I don't want to compare it to you, but I think your marriage had so much more history and
37 years,
than mine did. And so we were divorcing at different stages of our lives for many different reasons, and that doesn't matter. But I did know that the way I had already changed in understanding my self and strength and power due in a lot of part to you helping me find that, that I was down the road already of joy and freedom.
And it really helps to have a support system.
Yes.
And we supported one another. And that sounds really confusing in a way, because we were also falling for one another. But the support that we received back and forth was, well, this may feel raw and crazy and nuts and against everything, and we might lose. And I had a lot to lose.
Sure.
You had a lot to
we
lose
both
too.
did. Just again, different ways.
Just different things.
Everybody does.
But it was good to have support. But I want to say this: you and I were on a bike ride. Can I go there?
Yeah,
we
please.
were on a bike ride this weekend. God, it was. I don't know. I hope by the time this comes out, this can be cooler, because it was hot. Here we are in fall, and it was a hot day. And we were out on a nice bike ride, trying to get a little exercise on a Sunday. And I just had this moment where we were talking about somebody doing something and how much money they had and how great that was. And it dawned on me, it was just another dawning, that I have such absolutely no attachment to the support that I used to have when I was in a marriage. I had a lot more financial things, financial. I had a lot more money, and
Say it how it
so.
is. Yes.
But the true, I just had this feeling of like euphoria, freedom, which was like, I don't miss that. I don't miss that at all. I mean, we all want money and all of the
Stability.
things that come with it, but and the stability that money brings. But how much money do we need? I mean, I'm doing okay.
Right.
Well,
I mean, it came about a little bit in having to make some choices.
Right.
Do we do X, Y, Z?
Right. We have to make choices when you don't have as much money.
Right. And the priorities and deciding if changing some priorities makes you feel like a want for what you used to have versus an appreciation for what you do have.
Right.
The whole topic that interview was, and we're talking about, is abundance.
Right.
And so if you have more of that abundant mindset versus the want or the not enough, then that can really change that viewpoint internally.
It's
to
true.
Externally.
And abundance begets abundance. I am financially secure. Some people might go, "Oh, you need more," or some people think I'm very rich. I don't really care. I know I have an abundance of opportunities in my life now. Now that I am myself and have chosen freedom and courage as my watchwords, with the ending result being joy of life, which is exactly. Are we not all wanting that? And so what stops us? What stops us in our tracks is that fear. And if we can walk through that thick wall of dark, red, hot fire fear sometimes, you can see on the other side, it wasn't that hot. Yeah, it was scary as hell, and it felt like hell.
Right.
But on the other side of that is you can't describe freedom any way except to say you are finally living like you thought you really could. And I know a lot of people are just chasing that rabbit, whether it's being, I'm going to make billions of dollars, or I'm going to have 85 girlfriends at one time, or, whatever that need that we all, doing drugs, whatever it is, we're looking for that wholeness that we have inside of us.
Right.
And we can't find it. It's already there. It's just like opening the shutters and going, okay, now now I'm here, and taking that accountability for all the things that are inside of you. And I just finally went. It's 60. You're not 60. You're so young.
I'm about to be. It feels like
I know. But
every year
something
you
about
gain,
that
I gain
year.
5.
There's something about those. You just finally go, just fuck it. No.
Right.
Just no. Not doing anymore. It feels like you're doing it at 40, which actually you did it, but you didn't do the whole
thing. What's left? What do I need to be doing?
No.
Help.
No, I'm just going to say, I don't like to, cuss the whole tone on this podcast, but have you just said fuck it and just left everything alone?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Well, then you did. See, you're better.
Right. I mean,
you got
I
ahead of
have
the
a
game.
long way to go in many different things.
Yeah.
But one thing I think that's changed a lot is other people's perception or understanding, and really getting that is, why does that matter to me, what you think of me?
Right.
Even going back to what we're all chasing, what you were saying, like the money or the X or the Y or Z, like chase whatever fulfills you.
Or some,
Right.
or as my ex-husband used to say, somewhere to plug our umbilical cord in. I thought that was a really good term he used to use.
Right.
And he's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And yes, I think I have a degree of fuck it, but there's more to come. I hope.
Yeah, there's more to come.
I hope.
And that if we can live long enough, maybe that's it.
I know.
Yeah.
And the fun part of going on those shows with you is kind of hearing that story again, and the vulnerability of who you are, and that reminder that, the be powerful behind us and what that actually means, and the version of power that we're aiming for and going for, and that you're helping people find is so beautiful, to live in a way that fills you up. And I love on those shows too, when she had called you 69.
She called me sexy. She said, I want to introduce my 60-something friend, Liz Hilliard. And I'm like, I'm not
70.
really. Yeah.
And then the jaws drop, and I go, yeah, I'm sure. I know her birthday. She is. It's great. I'm the little girlfriend.
You were in the back filming. You were funny.
I know, it was fun. But what came out of that is your watchword of joy. And I feel a lot of gratitude for the joy that we do have. And as much as we're in this climate that we've talked so much about of divisiveness, and I do think that I want to continue to kind of stand strong in our joy to hopefully give that to other people.
To let that overpower the fear and that is coming at us. And I think you and I both are just handling that well anyway, because it comes at us and we just, two against, we're good.
2 against the world, baby.
Yeah, but why? While we were in New York and while we were in Washington, D.C., our producer, Kristen Nava Studios, who happens to be right here, gave us some information. She said there was some trouble in Waxhaw and also
Fort Mill.
In Fort Mill.
So surrounding areas, if you're not local to the area, just kind of the outskirts of Charlotte.
And the trouble stemmed from the Waxhaw Pride group trying to have a pride parade. And they got so many threats that pretty much no one showed up. The fear is just big blank fear. That's just fear of the other. And the more people that are those pride people that showed up and that maybe will show up again and try this again, and that they maybe show joy and show the courage and the freedom that they still have to congregate in a town and have their own joyful parade, then maybe if we just listened for a moment before we reacted and gave them a break. I mean, give everybody a break before we just immediately judge somebody on what we think they should be doing and what triggers our thoughts. What is that trigger in our thoughts? What is
I just think too, like, wouldn't that be amazing if people could live with freedom from such fear?
Right.
But we can't, and it's confusing to me what's so fearful about people expressing themselves in what I consider a very positive, joyful way.
America's been protesting forever.
Yep.
The women's movement.
It's allowed.
I was around during the Vietnam movement. This is not a protest. The Pride people are not protesting. What has happened that is different in the last 8 years or more is that the people like the right, the far, far right, has entered into the picture to divide this country and to say there's others and then there's us. And if you're not one of us, if you don't go to church every Sunday, if you don't have a heterosexual relationship, if you don't dress a certain way, then you're the other. And then you're the problem. This is not a mystery. We don't even need to dance around it. This is the far right. Granted, there is a far left. The far left protested the Vietnam War. That a couple people got shot at Kent State. Happened to be alive during that. You look back on it. See, history is all about looking back.
Right.
But when you're in the midst of it, what are people going to look back on right now and go,
That's interesting.
What the hell? And why did these people believe any of this? America is built on the foundation of a separation of church and state. It is built on freedom, getting away. The people that came to America in the first place were getting away from religious persecution. That is what's going on.
Truly.
We're back to, Christian nationalism. I have this vision in my mind of like, people just see, they're other. Oh, they're gay. They're flamboyant. There's the boys wearing makeup. Before you just have that reaction, that gut reaction, that's legitimate. I'm not illegitimizing anybody's reaction or anybody's feelings toward these things. But remember where we live and remember respect. And if you do identify as a Christian, remember the golden rule to do to those people as you would have them do to you. I don't think it is to be shouting obscenities to them and telling them they're going to burn in hell. Jesus rolled in. I don't think he'd like that. So again, I get on a soapbox about that because this is the divisiveness that's happened in this country. This is why we have to vote on November the 5th. This is why we have got to push back against the fear and the anger that is trying to destroy our freedom, our Constitution. Read our history. Read our history.
What was fun after you had that interview, going back to the abundance and the joy and the freedom, is we had a great conversation with your publicist after in New York, which was really fun. And it just made me think one of the things we talked about, besides the fact that you need to write another book and you want to start a TV show,
It's true.
All
You're
for
giving
that.
Away, you're
Say
giving away
aye.
all of our secrets.
Yep. Part of the conversation, it's always, when are y'all going to get married? And
Oh, yeah.
And we
Yeah, yeah,
ended
yeah.
up asking her because she is single
Yes.
if she would get married either. And what
She's
was her
divorced.
response?
Oh, fuck no. She didn't
She
have
said, "Hell no."
She didn't have a moment's
Not a breath.
hesitation. She did not have a moment's hesitation. I'm like, why? I mean, why does everybody feel that way?
I mean, she had her own reasons, and they were great. And also, I always say, I mean, we are older. Like another of that, like I don't give a
Right.
fuck about the traditional
We're using
way
the
to
F-bomb
do
a lot.
things. It's popping out a lot today.
It is.
Let's get rolling. And I like the concept of partnership more than I like the institution, as you've discussed, of marriage. And if we got married, then it would just, for me, be a recognition of the commitment in our partnership.
Right.
And there
A
would
legal
be,
commitment.
Right. Some legality things that would maybe serve us well, hopefully, and the opportunity to get married. But I think what she was saying and what we generally say is
Right.
like, I don't want to mix my individuality up with somebody else. What's happened,
I
I
like
think,
mixing
over
it up with you.
time. Well, yes, but you know what I'm saying. I think what's happened over time is I encourage women to be more independent than where we traditionally have gone. I mean, I left a marriage with very little to nothing in my name.
It's true.
And that's really difficult. And you've been
true.
incredibly supportive of me. And
I took a lot of courage.
the freedom too, like the choice to be by myself and then luckily with you was greater than the choice to be in something that in certain ways could feel more stable or supported. But to me, again, it's about priority.
Financially.
Yes. Yes. To me, that wasn't more important than, I don't know, my soul.
Right. Then your leanness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It really that's the point. But
Right.
But not to say that when we get married or when and if we get married that we're going to lose
get
ourselves.
all
to each other.
tangled up
It's-
in your
to me,
business.
It's still to me. And I know I'm just a mess at this. I'm really a mess at marriage.
You were married 37 years.
I
How are you
know.
a
I did
mess?
I did a fairly good job a lot of those years. It just feels very confining and defining, whether we do it or not. We are married.
Well, and if we do, then it'll be a
What a cop-out,
celebration
maybe.
of our
Yeah.
freedoms. I mean, honestly.
Right, exactly.
We're not going to do anything that would diminish the love and the abundance and the freedom that we currently have.
And it still feels sort of patriarchal to me.
I know.
Not sorta, but this has been the line that women have always gotten. You can be a brain surgeon, but you're going to get married, and you're going to get married at a certain age, and you're going to pop out some children because that's the way we do things here in America.
You're going to take somebody's last name.
and you're going to change your name. And by the way, I love that I changed my name to Hilliard.
Right.
I really do. It's worked well for me. So but he could have changed his name to Clary. It's still very patriarchal. And now that we're really living our own lives and living in our own skin, things start to shine a light on those systems. And and that's why I'm just like, marriage, even though I asked you to marry me on national TV. But it might, and still
It's a
might happen, but
statement
it's
of
going to
love.
be a different.
It's a different.
Yeah.
Right. So the only opinion I have on that is the encouragement of people to be creative,
Right.
work together to define their own
Right.
marriage.
Okay, back to one more time before we get off of the subject of New York. The lady that was interviewing me had also been married for 31 years, I think.
Okay.
And she had a nice, we all had our diamonds
Diamonds
on. And I'm like, did you remarry? And she goes, oh, hell no. I mean, and I'm like, well, that's a nice ring. She goes, I know, I bought it myself. I'm like, of course you did, because you're an independent, incredible human being. Buy your own stuff. I'll buy my own
Buy your
flowers.
own
I'll buy my own diamonds.
Buy myself flowers.
Right, like that.
Almost started singing.
Yeah, well, don't.
Don't.
That's a bad idea. Okay, so
I mean, there were some more celebrity sightings.
Oh, yeah.
You had
There
your
was.
Washington,
God,
D.C.
that's right.
philosophical, smart people of your generation.
They were not my generation. Some of them were younger than me.
Everybody's
Everybody's
younger
younger
than
than me. Never mind.
you. And okay, let's think. So in New York, we saw Sue Bird. We walked into a beautiful store that I just recently found out about called Argent, with a woman who the owner was in there named Sally, beautiful, sweet, from South Carolina. We just started chatting with her, and she's got very beautiful tailored clothing. You bought 2 pieces.
I did.
Suits, just really good looking stuff. And while you were trying on, I realized that Sue Bird, the WNBA GOAT of all time, was in the dressing room going through all her
I didn't know who
suits,
she
looking
was.
amazing. I know. And then I was like, that's Sue Bird. And so if you don't know, she's one of the greatest WNBA stars of all time. She is married to Megan Rapinoe, famous soccer player. Right. So for me, that was a real celeb. Oh my gosh. And
You kind of went up to her and did the whole gay thing too. She goes up and she goes.
We were trying to leave, and they accidentally charged you like 4 times and had to go in the back and figure it out and delete it. So I thought we were about to go, but we're there 10 minutes after I say this. I kind of just turned around while her head was out, like, we're about to leave, but I just wanted to say thank you for everything you do. We are a partner, and she's just nodding like, yeah, another lesbian. And you've made it easier for us in the South, and just thank you so much. And she was gracious and said, thank you for saying that. Yeah. And then I kind of like spun around and just stood there like, what do we do now? And then we had to wait for 10 more minutes to get it all sorted. Job. And I was so embarrassed.
You did a great job. I just thought it was really brave of you, because you were having some fangirl moment right there.
She's pretty special.
She is. And she's also pretty. She looked really good in those suits.
Well, and then those suits are big time. So I went down the rabbit hole and followed Sally. And she's a great feminist. And she, at the time, Hillary Clinton's on her press tour for her new book, and in the cover, she's wearing Argent. And then Katie Couric interviewed her, and they were both wearing Argent. I was like, power suits, let's go.
They were.
Yeah, so Argent, check it out.
So on my TV show, I wore an Argent shirt.
Pink silk blouse.
Yes, lovely. I did. I'm a new fan.
Yep. And then I think that's all we saw. P. Diddy was getting arrested down the street.
Yeah, just down the street. I was like, let's go see what's happening.
Let's go see all the thousands of boxes of lube. That is so weird.
Okay, that was weird.
What?
He had like
I don't want to talk about it.
Boxes of lube. Like,
I don't want to talk about it.
I know you were really grossed out.
The whole situation's very bad, and I hope it.
Yeah, and how did they equate that with gay people? Anywho, keep going. Well, I can see why. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh my God. And then when we left our hotel via stories, I found out that Chase Stokes.
Right.
You don't even know him, so
I do know.
Don't pretend.
I do know.
Outer Banks, the new movie Uglies, probably been in a million things. Kelsey Ballerini's boyfriend. He was in our hotel at the same time we were, and I never saw him. And then there's a secret layer of a party.
I like that.
Yeah, a party place at our hotel that I did not know about.
Well, they should have told us.
And Joe Jonas was DJing last night we were there.
Right.
And we missed it all.
It's okay. We know where it is now.
But if I'd run into him, it clearly would have gone poorly.
No, I think you would have done really well. You would have done really well.
At least I was brave enough. You didn't even speak to Thomas Friedman.
I was really I was frozen in my tracks. Mm-hmm. I'm intimidated by smart people. I still am.
Yeah.
It's that recurring thing that's in my little 7-8-year-old self that goes, you're not smart enough to talk to Thomas Friedman. He's written like 18 books that make more sense than the first anything you've done. So,
but it was cute to see you a little flummoxed by it.
Yeah, we were.
It was cute.
Yeah, we had some star
moments. Because you always
moments.
make fun of me for star moments.
I can't help it because you're fun.
On the plane, coming home, was Carson Daly, the greatest MTV VJ of all times, now on the Today Show, with his precious 3 of 4 children. And I didn't say or do anything, and we were 2 rows
Okay,
apart.
and then on my Instagram feed, so I'm listening to all this bullshit she's giving me about, did you see Charleston Daly? And I'm like, who?
Who?
Anyway,
Charleston Daly?
Yeah, what's his name? I don't care. I freaking don't care. None of this matters to me. So on my Instagram feed, I'm scrolling because, what else are you going to do waiting on your airplane situation? And it says, the more excited people are about over celebrities,
the less intelligent
they are. And it just rolled right up on my Instagram,
perfect timing.
There it is. Anyway,
but isn't that the weirdest that we do fan out over celebrities?
Yeah,
who
I suppose. I mean, really, I don't know why.
I think
I went right up to Joan Collins in Saint Tropez. Remember, I didn't have a problem, and she's a big deal.
We have differences of who we think are celebrities,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Now,
Everybody has-
if I saw Oprah or something, I would go up to Oprah.
There's different levels, but I'm just saying, what makes someone make you a little starstruck? What is it?
What
about
is it?
these
What is that
people?
essence? Because you admire what they've done, their bodies of work, the way they look. I suppose. I don't know. I don't have that
I
many.
don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just curious if you've thought of it that way.
Like, I mean, if I saw Elton John, I'd be like, I would go up to all of them, though. I don't mind making I saw Robin Williams before he died. Clary and I were in Venice, and we were walking, and all of a sudden, Robin Williams we're going up the steps, he's coming down. And I went straight up to him. Clary can back me on this one. And I said, oh my gosh, hi, Robin. I bet you don't know me. I'm Liz Hilliard. Instead of, I reversed it. Like, you probably don't know who I am.
That's so typical.
You know? And he looked at me and smiled. And then I went, and this is back before phones. This is like 10 years ago or something.
No,
Or more.
10.
It's 20. I don't know.
A lot of years
A lot
ago.
of years ago. Before he died, of course. And Clary she was out of college, but not married. And so with our camera, she had to pose us and took a picture of us. And he's like leaning in, he's almost like rolling his eyes in this picture. But I still have it.
I think it's a hard thing.
He's
to
a big
do.
deal. I mean, somebody like that. You know?
Well, I think it's all.
They're just humans. And if you can hit them that way, even though you're just massively like, wow. But you saw me with Thomas Friedman, I froze.
No, I guess I'm just trying to understand what it is about other people that make us quiver in our bones. And I know that for what you said, it's their body of work and the admiration. Like that, and I think what I'm getting at is the connection.
Yes.
Right? Like in some way, we've connected with the person, place, or thing. Like their work, their art, what they're trying to communicate to us moves us or makes us feel seen or heard. There's probably attraction to it.
Right.
Like, Brad Pitt. Like he's just a
now
smoldering
that's a
individual.
smoldering
like,
human.
He's
He's
gonna
still
change
good.
the energy when you're there. And I just, anyway, I think that's all very fascinating.
I think it's great. And I'm just so glad we got to run into all your people. I think your point is good, though. Like, what is it? I don't know. I
know.
don't quite know what it is. But,
fascinating.
But I'm glad we did it. It was fun.
Well, it's like the Taylor Swift effect.
Yeah. Wow, we need to do a whole podcast on this Taylor Swift thing because we're running late on this one. I know.
Okay. We'll leave the politics again by the side. I didn't mean to throw Taylor in. but
Aren't
that's
you
a
all
great
going to be
example.
glad when it's after November?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I hope.
I know, right?
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. Okay,
Wow.
so do you feel good?
Yeah.
I feel good.
You're my celebrity crush today.
Okay. All right. Well, let's end on that.
But I knew you would like that.
Well, I'll make you my celebrity crush too. You know?
Oh
Because
my gosh.
Anywho, all right, we're gonna get out.
Go live. Joy,
yes,
abundance.
joy and
freedom.
abundance. Definitely freedom and courage.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to us today, wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can now find our podcast on YouTube.
Yeah. If you liked it, please share, rate, and review. We love 5 stars. And we hope you'll work out with us online or in studio at HilliardStudioMethod.com.